All right, guys, here we're talking about the movie Fallen.
Is on my side. Yes, it is.
1998's Fallen, Lee. Had you seen it before?
Just Fallen, right? Not The Fallen. Just
I think
Fallen.
it's just Fallen.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
I really enjoyed it the first time I saw it. I think
Interesting.
And not that it's not a good movie,
No,
but a lot of this, when you see it for the first time, you're like, oh shit, let me work this out. Wait, what does that mean? Oh, I'm discovering things as Denzel discovers things. I feel like a detective. I'm learning. But when you've seen it twice,
we're gonna go into that. Awesome. That's perfect. There's a lot to talk about. No, I was like, this was one that I have not rewatched in a long time, and I was afraid, like maybe if I rewatch it, I will say, it turns out it sucks. We were just a moron. Because I have a soft spot, I think, for this time period and like criminal, paranormal, investigative drama movies or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something wrong with me. Thrillers. I like thrillers or whatever. And this was like, I held this up as like, this movie's great or whatever. So I was like, just never rewatch it. Then you'll never have to know the truth. But I've rewatched it now and I was very pleasantly surprised.
I think I've only seen it 3 times, this being the third watch.
In the last 3 days.
Well, no, only once for this review. But having seen it 3 times, like probably spaced out with about 10 years in between, it was still fresh enough that I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember everything's going to happen. But breaking it down to talk about it, it's still got a lot of great stuff that I'm very excited to go into in the spoiler section.
About it. Okay.
Maybe we will. All right, guys, if you've seen it or don't care, false over to spoilers, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of Fallen. Lee, let me hear them spoiler-filled thoughts.
I'm still high off the ending. I still love I knew what happens, but I was still like, ooh, like Antonio Banderas, like, oh, I loved it so much.
I like the ending, but I hate the beginning. I would like it to not start with that pull back, because it starts where it ends.
I want to tell you about the time I almost died.
Yeah, but that's the reveal. You don't understand.
No, but I think even the first time I saw it, and not literally in the moment, but after you first realize the premise, I was like, oh, okay, I get what happens. Yeah.
And well, because he leans on certain words intentionally. Yeah. Okay, so what am I talking about? The first reveal is that John Goodman is Azazel.
One more.
And he just blows Donald Sutherland's brains out, and you're like, oh, and Denzel Washington is like, oh shit.
Sometimes it's a big one.
Everyone is like, what the fuck? Now, obviously, it has to be one of them. This whole fucking thing, you don't know, whatever. Then, a few minutes later, we find out that the narration in Denzel Washington's voice that you heard 2 hours ago was actually Azazel, but his last human host was Denzel Washington, so he's talking with his voice.
It was some of the words he uses, though, I think what tracked me that first watch, where he's like, I've been around a long time with the blah, 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 and I'm like...
I never thought it would happen to me. Not at this age. Beaten. Outsmarted.
That's what a demon would say.
Just because you saw it coming does not make it one of the most brilliant cinematic triumphs in the history of cinema.
I think, for me, it would have been better to not... Or to maybe not have any voiceover there, or something you could have done to change...
it might have been a script thing if certain words triggered you or something.
Maybe the words could have been done, but something about it, it's super telegraphed for me.
I don't even know how much it's meant. It's definitely meant to be like a trick, but without that, it's still good to me. It's fine.
Well, I think the movie itself is pretty strong. If you pull that out completely, honestly, it would be totally serviceable.
It doesn't need. Okay, that is really important because it does not need these gimmicks to succeed.
No, it's a good movie.
So that's why at the end I'm just like Vince McMahon, panel 4. I'm just falling up back on my chair. I'm like, it's so good.
I always forget and / butcher his name, but Casey Jones, as I will call him.
And the last name is pronounced?
Cateus.
Cateus. Elias. Pretty name, Elias.
Is amazing.
Oh, his name is like Elias Cotieris.
Yeah, it's some words.
He's the man, though.
He's super good.
I forgot he was Casey Jones, so this is going to be a big moment where you're like, oh my God,
he will always be Casey Jones. I don't care if he's a werewolf, if he's a human, if he's a man in the city.
Well, he's been in like a few things where you're like, damn, this guy's good.
He can act.
A week, a month. The uncle says toch machst.
What are you, Nazi now?
Curious. Exactly. Yeah.
So honestly, he can act so well that they filmed that part early, and everyone modeled their performances when they are him after how he did it.
That's how you gotta do it.
Yeah,
That's dope.
And like,
Nice.
what higher praise is there as an actor than that? Like, oh yeah, when we had everyone, John Goodman studied you to be you. Like, like that's dope.
Yes, exactly.
And he's effective. That him singing that song.
Is on my side. Yes, it is.
Which gets stuck in your head. 'Cause it's so catchy.
There's copyrights though. There's
Yeah.
problems, but yes.
No, I love it.
That's like listed where like that's and it's like this feels like okay. There's a scene that I love where Denzel Washington is like realizing what's happening.
Oh, yes.
In the police station.
Oh yeah, that's
Right?
that's one of the strongest scenes in the movie.
Mike. Mike.
But like, it's so like I know what's happening. You know what's happening. The movie's even slowly trained the audience in the movie. Here's what's happening. See, there's a guy in the bathtub. There's a guy eating cornflakes. There's a guy in the bathtub. See, there's a whole montage where they're just touching different people way early. Super boring where you're like, well, I know this already, but Denzel Washington's performance, watching him realize it, because this is a novel concept.
Yeah.
Like you're like an audience member in the real world. This is old hat. Like, oh, he has powers or something. I don't know. This is like normal to you. This is meant to be the real world. Well, that stuff doesn't exist, and it's happening in front of him. And
even as he sees it happening, he can't believe it.
Yeah, like watching him try to grasp this like completely unbelievable concept.
It's on my side. Yes, it is.
Luke.
What?
And like almost testing it a little, and then pressing it a little more, and realizing, holy shit, like this is
and
happening.
you realize, and they establish this in movie too, when the one guy like take that sandwich and shove it up your ass or whatever he says, something more clever than that.
Pardon me?
Like a fat, stupid fuck with a sandwich up his ass.
Charles.
And then when he comes to, he's like, hey, I don't know if I've been drunk for a few days.
Right.
What's my shift?
Yeah.
You were fired. Like, what? So you realize that they don't have any memory of what they were when they get taken over,
what he does,
which is awesome.
Right.
Just him jumping from body to body and the way he does it and how like, it's just so classy. I read they all the people in those scenes are dancers. Because there's a flow to it that is like just so perfect with how like they spin and it touches and the next one goes and it just works, and it's all about that timing, because he's chasing a girl down the street.
That's the other
jumping
one,
body to body, and you're like, oh man, this is too dope.
Yeah, super crowded street, and it's like, can she run faster than just he can swap bodies, touch the next person, and it's this big Blue Man Group chain. It's Stomp Live. They're going, it's amazing.
And then when he finally catches up to her there, it gets aggressive. He's like in the taxi cab, go, and he like doesn't go for whatever reason. Like, someone to scream go. Like, at least like let your foot off the gas, something. And then dude breaks through the fucking window, and then that's what surprised me is he doesn't open up like, hey, what are you doing, him? Now he takes off.
Yes.
I'm like,
we cut
okay.
out the, I don't think you ever see the driver, do you? It's like a weird.
You probably see him like a little bit,
slightly, but he doesn't have any lines or anything.
And then just as quick, that now body, which is slightly injured, he just touches some guy. You okay, man? And takes him over too. You're like, oh, this is like some like Terminator stuff.
Jesus, man, you all right now?
It's fantastic.
But I like the word classy because like. The way it's played, the people who like were possessed aren't like, how did I get here? What's going on? They're just like fucked up. They're like, which gives the other guy and he's so smooth, so classy about it that you never notice like a huge change. It's like a subtle change where the person just goes like, okay, but they have their hands in their pockets. They're still doing this. They have he has all the memories of that person.
That's
he can go do whatever he
also
wants.
crazy.
He knows what you were doing. he knows what direction to walk to get back to your house. And is just instantly good with it.
Which makes this one of the most terrifying bad guys. Because he's in Denzel Washington's house. He takes over the kid, who that relationship is a little hard to follow.
It's very weird. Yeah.
The one guy is his brother, and that's his son.
I love you, Dad.
Wait, don't forget your Uncle Johnny.
Oh, I can feel the love in his room, man.
Yeah.
So his brother dies, which I think he takes pretty well.
Sure.
And I guess that's the I'm at war kind of mentality, where it's I don't have time to process this. I just have to get out of here.
And he knows he's gonna get stitched up here. He has to leave. Yeah.
But just leaves his nephew with a almost nun and
some
takes
sort of
care
holy
of
warrior.
business.
It's fine. Yes.
I like that they don't dwell on or go into much detail upon his birthright or blood lineage or whatever makes it so that he can't get taken over and possessed instantly. He's too good, or he's a holy warrior, or whatever his thing is. They don't talk about it almost at all. And I think that's super strong.
It's very important.
Because I hate when they go oh, your great grandfather was the one who exchanged coins for Judas. What?
Here's an oil painting of a guy wearing chainmail who looks like Denzel Washington. Oh, see,
You're from the Book of Eli. What?
Passed down. Oh no.
You can smell hijackers a mile off. I am impressed.
Yes, exactly. No. And normally you want explanations, so I'm happy that you're on the same
page.
That's
something that
here,
I think they could not have explained well, and I think it's better to not try.
Well, and it's awesome just to be it it makes you feel smaller. It makes the bad guy seem more powerful because you don't have someone who I'm going to explain everything, right?
Yeah.
You have there are some cringy exposition-y scenes where she is explaining a lot to Denzel Washington about what's going on. But yeah, there's never this you are the chosen one. There's just listen, maybe we're here for a reason. Maybe we can fight these things. Maybe whatever.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can't enter Denzel Washington by just touching him is what intrigues him so about Denzel Washington and facilitates the entire plot.
Yeah.
He's ooh, what's going on?
I can't enter you by touch, but even when I can get inside you after I'm spirit, I won't.
I can't glamour you, or I can't do this, or you can see through my disguise. And they take notice, and there's your plot, right? Yeah.
And it could also be an explanation as to aside from the fact that you killed my host previously because of crimes that I was having fun with, maybe he just makes a mission to kill all the people that he can't jump to because who knows? Those are people that could beat him.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to get rid of those whatevers.
Yeah.
I like, and I'm a little surprised that there was no backstory going into more about the battle of her father and him, because that could have been a great moment of learning of but what he didn't know is when you kill him, he can go into anybody, or something like that, and that could be how she learned that type of thing.
Oh.
They didn't dwell.
He says that. Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The fact that they didn't go back and show that moment, I thought was almost surprising.
They're doing a pretty good job with it, but I'm just saying there are still some. There's one scene where it's voiceover mostly, and I'm you're you're trying to patch up the script or whatever.
After death, yeah, I saw it. Oh yeah, listen to this. I was looking through one of your father's books, and it says,
right? So certain any piece that's a little tarnished here stands out because it's so good.
There was
to me
audio issue problems too that could explain some of that.
Okay.
There was something, I don't know if you read this.
No.
They lost a canister of audio.
Hey.
And they put out want ads does anyone found this? There's a reward offer. There's a blah blah blah. And it was a scene where they were oh fuck, we can't read, they couldn't reshoot it for whatever reason, and they ended up taking the second unit audio guys thing and they brought it to a sound professional and they managed to fix it because they never found the audio there, and maybe that explains why some things may have had to get processed through voiceover because they have we can't do the scene, fuck it.
That's it. Well, they were just like you do see it eventually. He's just talking in bed, but they end up showing a bunch of other footage of this phone call, like over it, so you can't tell, and you're what?
I guess they are limited in certain ways.
What are you thinking?
Why are you showing all
Well,
this
maybe there
footage?
was a scene that had to get removed because it didn't have audio at all. I don't know.
Yeah. So maybe they had to just record the phone call to make up for the missing scene, in the church or something.
How will we explain this? Fuck it, we'll do it in post.
Yeah, because they're just literally explaining it. He's I read this, and she's that's cool. I read that. It's this weird this sucks.
The part where, and what would they say you can move 6 cubics or whatever.
500 cubits, 1/6 of a mile.
So she does that. It felt like she does that math almost instantly, because he seemed to mention it, and it didn't seem like it was something oh yes, I know, it's off my head. It's he can move a cubit, 500 cubits. That's 1/6 of a mile or whatever. I'm What?
A cubit, that's like a distance or something, right?
Yeah, from your elbow to your fingertips. So 500 cubits would be, what, about 1/6 of a mile.
She goes, that's the distance between your finger and your shoulder or something. That's this much. And I'm like, who the fuck can do that math?
Well, if you study biblical stuff, you would know cubits. That was the measurement to the Hebrew. I think in like the pyramids, each like square thing is like 1 cubit or a certain number of cubits or whatever. Yeah,
but wouldn't those be relative to the person?
It's a fake thing. It's like
like a hand or whatever.
She's like approximating it for him. It's a certain amount of like. As a kid, I was like, oh, it's like a foot, or it's like 2 feet, or it's like whatever. It's fine.
Probably closer to 2.
I was like, whatever, fine. But it is funny how they have to
spit it
reiterate
out
all the
instantly.
distances and all this stuff. Yeah. I love the idea of like 1 breath of no more than 500 cubits.
A demon can survive for 1 breath over 500 cubits, right?
AKA whatever. These like stipulations to the whole thing. But that's like a cool. I remember really like as a kid especially loving like all of the lore behind this. Yeah. And that's like 1 breath because he doesn't have a body.
It would have been better
right?
and this would be for the sequel, I guess. So in the first one, the dad, he didn't know that when you kill it, he can take over anybody or whatever. So like that's where he lost. Yeah. And in this one, he didn't know that it could go into animals and stuff. And it might have been nice for the audience to not know that either. But we already saw him in a cat. Yeah. So you're like he's in the forest. There's bugs and animals everywhere.
I feel like they only added that cat to explain it for people.
You think?
Because that's not connected to anything either, right? They just show the cat rubbing someone's foot. Like that isn't one of them speaking guys. It's just like a guy, I think.
No, well the time that really shows the audience is when it's in the window looking at him, and I think it cuts to that vision or something for a second.
Yeah. Close to you, so close she breaks you. And if that doesn't work.
So you're like, oh yeah, he's being spied on, and then like right when he goes to look, it like jumps away.
I forgot all about that because I only remember that. Well, that's after that, I think, when the cat goes and like rubs someone's leg, and
that is after.
He's a guy, yeah.
And that could even be how it got into his house in the first place, like touch the brother, pop in, then pop all the way back out.
Because there's like a little window open or something.
Yeah. I do love it though, the being able, because either of those things would be terrifying. If every time you killed this thing, it could jump into another body, or if it could just touch and jump bodies. But those the two of those, you're like, oh my god, it's like fighting Spider-Man mixed with Wolverine. This is horrible.
No, yeah, and I'm a sucker for the heaven and hell stuff. I should say now, I guess, this reminds me. This reminded me of Primal Fear.
You think you're going?
Excuse me?
Hey, you look at me when I'm talking to you, bitch. Mrs. Stampler. Fuck you, lady. Come here.
Which is not exactly paranormal, but it's like in the same wheelhouse for me, and it's the same director who did this. So I'm like, cool. The guy also did something called Fracture that no one knows. It was Anthony Hopkins and Ryan Gosling. I liked that movie. There were little balls.
Rube Goldberg machine all the ball bearings. I suppose you could say, well, that's part of his thinking. He's a mechanical, clever man.
But there's a whole slew of these movies. And, End of Days, a bunch of other ones.
It reminds me of End of Days, which is ironic, and I wonder, Arnold was offered this role.
You're a fucking choir boy compared to me. A choir boy.
And was it like?
Well, Denzel was offered the role End of Days.
Was he?
I mean,
that would have been amazing.
I have no idea.
I think he could have pulled that off. That's like a Man on Fire role for him.
I was gonna say, I feel like Denzel's almost overrated, underrated, whatever you want to call it.
I think he's always the same.
Yeah.
I'm going over. Yeah, fuck it.
In this though, I feel like it might just be that it's that perfect time of his life.
Yeah.
Where he looks really good, and I think he's slightly different than he usually is. Like he's usually like angry and kind of just a stern talking guy, and in this he's kind of relaxed.
I was kind of down on him in general. I thought people were like overrating him, but then I see certain like Man on Fire is another one where I really like him in that movie, and so I'm like, oh, maybe he is literally just rated. He's as good as people think.
I think it's that that he is very good and. In general, and if you give him the right role, he's perfect. Yeah. But he's almost like he is playing him, in my opinion.
A lot of something about him comes through in all of his characters.
Exactly.
I want to see that.
Giving him the right role, it's perfect.
Yeah, I want to see that Shakespeare thing, because some of these moments in this movie, I was like, ooh, this is when he's talking to John Goodman at the end. I wrote like Shakespeare ending, like they're giving speeches.
Same poison that you used to kill my brother.
Like the ending speech when he turns all of the phrases, you should like look around every once in a while, and then he says something. He says like several things that have been parts of the movie.
Open your eyes. Look around sometime.
Back to Azazel to like taunt him now that he thinks he has him. I'm like, oh, this is, and the voice over literally made me feel smart like a few times.
Something is always happening. But when it happens, people don't always see it.
Or like inspired my young brain when he says like, and then you look back and you knew, like you just didn't know that you knew and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is powerful. This is dope.
But then you look back, you realize you knew.
Knowing that he can jump into your body, but also knowing that he can't leave without touching you, you'd think there's a way you could do this without dying. Because like even just knowing that he can't jump into your body, you could just chain him up.
Yeah.
Like forever.
No, and that's even like that's very obvious given the lines about like, well, I don't want you to die too quick because I have to get this many cubits away.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking. You're thinking, he's gonna book it.
Right.
But no.
Right. But like that should be, and like I think there's some something poetic to being like, well, no, I have to be here to see. To see this victory, and to do that I have to sacrifice myself. It's very like, it's like,
it's just whenever you, the hero, kill yourself, bad guys always win, and now you're gone. Like,
and that's what happens.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's exactly
what
happens.
happens. It's like showing what happens. Yeah.
At the beginning, I said I was going to tell you about the time I almost died.
I think I would have liked him not to be in a cat. I think I would have liked a more
a woodland animal.
No, I think like a less obvious ending. Like, because when you see the cat come out.
Oh. You forgot something, didn't you?
And I'm like, the voiceover continues. He's like, I won, but not this day, or whatever he's, fucking says. It would kind of be nicer if the voiceover ends and you saw like a fly just buzz by them, and you're like, wait, is he in that? Is he not? Like an open-ended maybe ending?
I mean, there's a lot of potential for nitpicking even, where it's like, oh, so you can't defeat him because couldn't he just enter a bacteria? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, there's probably like
if they would have mentioned like it has to be a mammal, might have been interesting.
Yeah, no, and like they don't address it like at all. No. But part of me with my Western mysticism fascination, I'm like, oh, because cats, like in Egypt, cats are magic. He can only do it with cats or something.
In my memory, it was a rat.
Okay.
But it was a cat.
Yes. Well, it's so weird that it's a cat in the city and it's a cat in the country. I'm not saying cats don't get around, but you would have, I think, intentionally showed.
Or put a fox or something.
Yeah, you would have, you would have shown a different animal, if only to make the point that it doesn't have to be cats.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, it has to be cats. We worship the cats. We love the cats, folks.
I would fuck around so much. I'd be taking over like gorillas and fucking alligators and just doing shit.
Well, and like, okay, so I'm glad you haven't nitpicked this yet, perhaps. But like, he could just win, but he's fucking with Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah,
because that's what anyone would do with these.
Well, because at any time he's in his house, the guy's sleeping. Yeah, and I get that too. Like a Loki-ish thing where it's like, I have unlimited time.
Yeah.
I fuck with whoever I want for as long as I want. There's no repercussions for any of his actions at all, because there's no way for his specific, of weakness to ever happen in our justice system.
Yeah, and no one knows his weakness.
Yeah.
Outside of this narrow band of holy warriors who aren't a factor.
Yeah. And that will be getting smaller by the fucking day.
Exactly.
This would be in space would be good. There's only so many left. Oh, there's nobody within 50 million cubics.
Cubits.
Oh no.
There's only 14 cuberts away. This is horrible.
I did the Kessel Run in 6 cuberts.
Bad feeling on this.
Yeah, me too. Somebody's playing with my dick and it ain't me.
John Goodman had probably the best lines in the movie.
John Goodman is another one where
he's
I'm like, I'm like, he's good, but he's always playing like goofy things or he's doing weird, and I don't know.
There's a little Blues Brothers in him on this.
He's really good.
Because he's when he's singing, he's the only one like putting something into it.
Is on my side. Yes, it is.
No one else kind of does that.
He wanted to make a point of like, well, I can sing, so I'm gonna sing.
Yeah.
That was this whole thing. No, like, going into this, I was like, ooh, this movie. Donald Sutherland shows up, and I'm like, you're in this film? That's crazy.
I'm not stupid, you know. I know you know more than you're saying. So tell me.
Then James Gandolfini shows up.
Yep.
James Gandalf the Grey Feeney himself.
Guy's a fucking asshole. He's a King Kong of assholes, a fucking legend.
His name's up on the wall.
Shows up, and I'm like, wait, I thought this was John Goodman. Did I get John Goodman? And that can't be. That's crazy. And then John Goodman is also in the movie. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah. So good.
Their weird conversation about cream and taking kickbacks and whatever, I'm like, this is a weird thing, because it seems like a conversation you would have with someone you don't know very well.
Everybody says Hobbes don't take no cream. Hobbes don't take no cream. Now, is that true or what?
No, I don't like cream.
And it would be like, but potentially they've been working together for a long-ass time, because James Gandolfini is the one that knows
He says months. Yeah.
But how does he know that sign thing?
Because everybody knows that. What do you mean? You don't know that? You've walked by here 1,000 times. Come on.
Remember, it was downtown in the lobby until they did the remodeling? You must pass it by 1,000 times.
Yeah, I guess I just need to open my eyes and look around sometime.
No, I'm not.
What I'm saying is, how could you only been working there for a few months if you know about this sign that had been taken down for God knows?
I think the sign was somewhere else, and he's at I think he was with that precinct for a few months. He's saying at the whole thing. So like you're talking about there's a few conversations, and usually these days, especially because I feel death, cold breath of the Reaper on my neck here. Like I'm like, come on, just get to the thing. But I was like enthralled with all the banter between these guys. Hey, bring over some buds. Come on, I'm switching a bud. All these things, all these the cream things.
I do love though that it is implied all police are on the take.
Yeah, because he kind of says listen.
Let's all take a little cream.
Let's just say, because he gives them several options. Do you mean you only do it sometimes, or you don't like talking about it? What do you mean you don't do that?
How's that? No as in never, no as in sometimes, or no as in I do, but I don't like to talk about it.
No as in never.
And he's like, I mean, I don't do it. And he's like, But then he says, I'm not judging. We all do it. It's fine.
Well, he's like, no matter what, and
we're
that's
still doing good.
That Brothers in Blue thing.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't care. It's like, you do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, we're the best. What?
We're still doing more than what, and he says lawyers and doctors or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if that's the truth. That's a little sketchy.
And any lawyer or stockbroker or president of the United States can ever do in their lifetime.
We do more than the people who give us clean drinking water and go to space and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, Kubert.
By failing to catch a supernatural guy for a month.
When Denzel Washington goes up to a nun and goes, does apocalypse mean anything to you? I'm like, what year is it?
Does apocalypse mean anything to you?
That's when I was literally like, all right, something's wrong with the script. Something's happening.
Am I so jaded that oh yeah, I grow up, I know apocalypse, that's everything. Oh, I love the apocalypse, blah, blah, blah. That there are people that don't know what the apocalypse is?
Well, she says, oh, that's Revelations, which he goes, that's a book of the Bible. Now I know it's, it says apocalypse.
But he says it like Ice-T, you mean to tell me people like raping couches?
That makes you gay. Yeah.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
No, this is the other side of the coin of what I was talking about before. So when it's, this uncanny ability to switch bodies but stay something, how does my mind grasp that? This is like apocalypse. Now that sounds like something.
That doesn't sound good.
That sounds like what a nun might need to tell me about, right?
Yeah.
That's very cringe, where you're like, okay, because they have to treat to keep to keep the part that I like in there, they have to also assume that the audience are babies who were born when, during the intro credits, who you have to explain everything else to. Right?
That one's on par with hey sister, Jesus Cristo, what's that?
What's that?
What?
I thought he was, when he leans over, I thought he was going to be like, do you have a Bible on you? Because I'm seeing him doing a crossword, cracking a code.
Much better would be, if he's I need to know what Revelations 2:36 is.
And then he's looking up, and she's like, oh, do you read the good book? And he's like, only when I have a reference to look up or something like that. And he's doing the thing. So okay, cool. But yes, instead he goes, so, Jesus?
Yeah.
She's like, yes, I'm aware of the
My
Jesus.
Lord, yes.
Absolutely beautiful. What does Azazel mean? Your father, he wrote it in the basement on the wall, then he...
Good. It's yes, that's the most weird rudimentary question. Yeah, those are the if there's any failures in this, that's it, is those cringe moments of we need to explain angels, fallen, angels, demons, whatever you want to call them, and you're like, all right, listen, we get that.
Okay, title drop. Fuck
we're
off.
Good. Yeah.
This life always gives you one more surprise. One more.
Smoking the poison, I thought, was an interesting thing too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know enough about poison or if that works.
Because cigarettes kill. Especially cigarettes laced with poison.
Like, can you just inject poison into a cigarette and smoke it? Especially saying it is the same poison that killed his brother. I don't know what that poison was.
It's poetry.
I don't know. I feel like
the poison is
maybe
fake.
Inject yourself.
It's just like a device.
Yeah.
And like I don't know when he laced the cigarettes. So there's
somewhere off camera.
Well, but there's scenes of him with that box of cigarettes.
And Sam are safe. You take them somewhere nobody knows about.
Contemplating it, which I don't think are meant to be like, do I kill myself now? I don't know what the fuck he's doing there. I don't know. But like, yes, that's an angle. I think he just looks cool smoking, so they wanted to put that in there.
Yeah.
Just you and me.
And to give that impression to the youth, smoking kills.
Okay. I thought you were going to say, it lets him do some like flourishes when he talks, when he's like holding in the smoke and stuff. Makes his speech like a little more.
He does,
whatever.
you can tell like that man has smoked before. Because he's like, he's like smoky, he's smoking.
That's the joke where he's like, I'm taking all the poison that I can. But even when he
I'm doubling up.
But even when he like inhales it, he like, you know, like pulls and then sucks in the air separately, where you go like, oh, okay, that's how you gotta do it. Other people just go, and then like you're like, not smoking. He was committed.
He's getting it.
There's tobacco and marijuana in there. That's all it is.
The other voiceover, there's like a few, right? But there's a point when he says like, you know, there are moments in your life where you know, like time gets divided into everything before it and everything after it. And I believe you can see those moments coming. And I was like, ooh, this is more like, It's like, and then I'm like, was that Azazel talking or is that, because that's maybe,
that's Azazel.
Is it him?
I think so.
And time is divided into two parts. Before this and after this.
I don't know, but it's a good comment.
It's cool.
It's a good note. I like that.
But they're cool because it applies to like the cop discovering Azazel as well as Azazel's first brush with death potentially.
Yeah,
this is life altering.
It would not be easy to ever brush with death under his particular circumstances.
He says something like, "Could you imagine being thousands of years
Honestly,
old?"
if I'm in his shoes, I would always carry like a mouse in my pocket. Like, all the time. Like,
you could
why not?
optimize
Just a
for
little
this,
friend,
definitely.
Or a bird or something cool.
I didn't have time to get a mouse.
I don't know.
Or mice don't work in my cat theory.
Maybe.
My
Well, then
magic
carry a
Egyptian
cat with you.
theory. Exactly.
I really like one of those fucking ragdoll cats just in a bag.
Yeah.
And where do they buy coffee with dirt in it? Tell me that.
I do think it's weird that the dad like discovered whatever is Azazel name and they're like, I'll paint over it though. Like, why even write it? Why do that? Who's that for? That's weird.
I think he wrote it at as Lieutenant whoever, and Azazel.
Azazel paints over it. That's better.
There's a lot of stuff like that where I'm kind of like, wait, because for the whole movie they're just talking about these possessed people. Like, the suspect did this. Like, why would he do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit.
No, that makes more sense. But why not even just burn the cabin down at that point?
No, it's weird.
And it perfectly strips just the newest layer of paint, which I'm like, what? Okay, that's what? Okay.
He keeps scrubbing. There's like a chart where it's heights and it's like Azazel AZ is written there. It's like,
I like that jump sequence where like the roof collapses when he grabs that book.
Oh, in the basement.
Yes.
I was like, who?
No, that has like that was a reshoot scene. They said during the initial test screening of that scene, an audience member went to the bathroom and the door slammed when he got out of the theater and everyone jumped and they're like, "Ooh, we need one of those."
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I love it.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
If I have any more questions, can I call you?
I'd rather you didn't.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVD.
competition. Now it's only us, our expert staff opinions.